All right, now we're going to create a vector store. So this is what I want you to do. Open up a new workflow in N8N. Okay, so you're going to be on this screen right here. Now what we're going to do first is just navigate over here and we're going to create an AI agent, which is right here. Now we have that in place, and we also have our chat trigger as well to trigger and speak with this agent as well. So all we're going to do here is actually click on Tool, open this up, and we'll just search for Pine, which will open up, which we can then view the Pinecone Vector store. We'll click on that. Okay, just go back for now, move it around, adjust things a little bit, and for the chat model, we'll just add in OpenAI chat model, GPT-4o Mini. Okay, so that'll be nice and fast, but also very, very cheap and very reliable as well. And then in the embedding here, I want you to click on the plus again, and we are going to use embeddings OpenAI. And the one that we want is the text embedding 3 small. Okay, so make sure you get that right. It has to be exactly that. So we'll come back over here, and that actually gives us access now via the agent to access the vector store. Okay, so this is where we're going to have to put information in for the AI agent to actually access. Now, if we double click on the Pinecone Vector store here, you can see we've got to connect some credentials as well. So we'll create a new credential, and as we can see here, we need an API key. So we'll go to the Pinecone website. Okay, so I want you to just navigate to the Pinecone website, register, get signed in, and what you should see is pretty much like a get started page. Okay, just like this. Now you can go over here and generate an API key. So we're just going to click on that, and we'll give it a name. So you could use your own name if you want. This is just so you know what it is, okay, what it's for. In this case, we'll just say Ken's. Okay, and we'll create a key. Now this is the key right here. We can copy that. I'd also recommend you put this key away, so save it in a notepad, save it on your computer somewhere where you store a lot of your API keys, because you most likely won't be able to access this again. So we can close out of there, come back over to our workflow, and we're just going to paste that straight in. We'll click save, and that should be all connected. Now, I also suggest you change the name of the connection as well for the credential. So just put this, like I've set my API as Ken's before, so I'll just say Ken's again, just so I recognize it as well. We'll click save, and that's it, we're connected. Okay, so now that we've connected our credentials, we also need to get a Pinecone index. So we'll jump over back to Pinecone, and if you go over to database, now I already have one in here, don't worry about that one. Just click on create index. All right, so now that we're here, this is where we're going to choose a name. We're going to choose our embedding model and a cloud provider and so on and so forth. But this is really easy. So all we're going to do first is just create a name. So let's just say documents. Now, remember when we set the embedding model in N8N before, and it was the embedding 3 small. So we also need the text embedding 3 small. So we'll click on that. Now for the rest here, we can actually just leave these as is. Okay, this is absolutely fine. And we're just going to create an index. Okay, so it might initialize even for a few seconds, but generally it's very, very quick. And now we actually have an index that we can access and store information in. So this one here is called documents. Okay, so we'll go back over here to our workflow, and we see the Pinecone index here. So we're just going to click from list and then choose. Now I'll just have to refresh that one. Come back over here. And then there we go. So we have documents right here. We're just going to select that. Now the limit, we can just leave it at 4 for the moment and include metadata as well. That's fine to leave on. Now in the name and description, this is where I'd be setting things like what type of information is in that actual vector store. All right, so for the name here, we can just set it as pretty much whatever here. So we can just say documents. Now for the description, the actual agent, this one right here, okay, he's actually going to be understanding what you type in here as well. So we want to be quite specific in how we are labeling and setting descriptions. Okay, so for instance, if let's say I had company information in there and reports and things like that, all right, I might say things like access company information, reports, and analytics. Something like that, right? So, I mean, that depends what you have in your vector store as well. So we can include metadata. we do have an option for Pinecone namespace. Now that can be good if we want to specify the name of the namespace as well. So let's say, for instance, in this case, it might be company data, okay? Something like that. And what that's going to do is, if we navigate back to Pinecone and we look at namespaces here, now there's one already set here, which is just the default, okay? Now, when you're uploading information later, by setting a namespace here, like in this case, company data, what's going to happen is that it's actually going to create a namespace here for you called company data as well, okay? So that's how that works. Now let's go back over here. We do have metadata filters and so forth as well. That's all right for now. And that's it, okay? So this side of things is connected. Now, of course, if we want to connect to this via Telegram or via other chat, inputs, we can do that as well. In this case, we're just using a when chat message received, and that just allows us to say something, okay, to that vector store right there. Now, obviously, at the moment, there's nothing in there because we have to set that up first. So now that that's set up, I want you to make a when clicking test workflow, okay? So you'll see that right over here, add another trigger manually, okay? So then you'll have this little fella right here. Now, what we're going to do here is search Google Drive, and we'll get that. And we want to select download file, okay? So select that, and then again, we're going to have to create the credentials. Now, this one takes a little bit longer, okay? So just ensure you connect using the OAuth 2 recommended method right here. But do take note of this, the OAuth redirect URL. And the client ID and client secret, this is what we're going to have to be filling out, okay? All right, so where I want you to go now is the Google Cloud Console, okay? So if we look right here, we see console.cloud.google.com. I want you to navigate there, okay? Now, once you're here, get logged in, registered, so on and so forth, okay? Now, at the top here, okay, or you might even see in the middle of the screen, depending where you are, we can just click this, and what I want you to do is just create a new project. Now, again, we're just labeling things here. So I might just call this one Ken's again, right? Just so I know it's for that exact one. Now, this will actually create, it sometimes can take a little longer than, the Pinecone one, for instance, but just give it some time. There we go, that's created. We want to select the project as well, okay? So now that we have that selected, now at the top here, okay, I want you to type in Google Drive, and we can see right here, Google Drive API, click on that. And what I want you to do now is click on enable and just give it a second. I mean, yeah, it can be a little bit slow, but yeah, nothing I can do about it at the moment. All right, now, if you've actually lost your way a little bit, that's all right. What we're gonna do now is set up everything in here that we need, okay? So we wanna be on the Google Auth platform. So if we click this little menu here, we can see Google Auth platform. Now we'll just go to the overview and we can say, get started. Now this is where we just want to give it an app name, okay? So this again doesn't really matter too much, but let's just call it Ken's. Now in here, it's going to be our Gmail account that we are actually logged in with, okay? So we can just click on it and click our email, click on next. We want to click external, click next again. Now for this, just add in your email. So ken.ai@gmail.com. Obviously use your email, go next again, and then I agree, then press create. All right, now that you've already finished that process, you should be here, okay? So navigate to the right and click create OAuth client. And here we can see the application type. We want to click on web application. Again, just the name, Ken's app, it doesn't really matter. Now for the authorized redirect URIs, okay, we want to click on add. And here, we're going to go back to our N8N workflow. And you see this OAuth redirect URL right here. We're just going to click on that, and that copies it. Navigate back here, and then we're going to paste that in right there, and then press create. So just give that a few little seconds to create as well, and that's done. So when I click on this now, all right, now that we're here, we have the client ID. So we're just going to copy that, come back to N8N, paste that in, come back over here again. We'll get the client secret, copy that, paste that in, and now we have a sign with Google. However, we cannot connect yet, okay? Then there's a reason for that. So we're going to come back here again, So what we're going to click on here is audience. And if we look at audience right here, we have test users. This is where you want to add your email again. Okay, so in my case, kenkai.ai@gmail.com. We'll save that. Okay, so that's important because we cannot actually log in via that login before an N8N without doing that first, and that's very, very important. Okay, so if we actually come back now to our N8N, and now I try to sign in, so you'll see I'm getting signed in with the same email that I used in the thing before as well. Now you'll see this here, Google hasn't verified the app, well, because you just made the app, right? It's not official yet. And we're just going to click on continue and just press select all and continue again, and you should be good to go. Just wait for the confirmation. There we go. We can just exit straight out of there. But now our account is actually connected. Okay, so I'll just jump back over here very quickly. And the last thing I want you to do is just name this as well. So I'll just say kenkai.ai drives. Okay, save that. It's a good practice to have to be labeling things so you know exactly what is what. Okay, so we'll exit out of there. Now, if I actually click on from file, I probably won't have anything in there because it's a new account as well. But we have the operation set to download. Okay, so that's actually going to actively download a file that is in our Google Drive folder. Okay, so if we navigate now to Google Drive, and I'll just sign in over here, make sure I'm in the right account, get signed in here. All right, now that we're in the Google Drive, we see my drive right here. We're just going to click that, right click here. Now we can create a new folder. Let's just say Vector Store. Wait for that to pop up. There we go. We'll double click into that, right click again, file upload, and I'm just going to add in this random PDF that I found on the internet. Let that upload. Okay, so now that's in our Google Drive. We can see it's in the Vector Store. We'll navigate back over to our N8N workflow, and I'll just jump out of there, jump back in again, and there we go. We can see the file that is actually on our Google Drive now appear in our N8N workflow through the Google Drive node. Okay, so we're just going to click on that file, and we're going to test the step, and we should see the output. So here we are. This is the data. It's a file size of 120 kilobytes. The name, so we have everything here, so we can begin. The next step, since this is a PDF, okay, what we want to do is extract from file. Okay, so if we just go and click the plus, type in extract from file. Now what file is it? It's a PDF. Okay, so extract from PDF, and this is where you're just looking at things as well. If you have an HTML file, for instance, you click HTML. If it's a CSV, click CSV. In this case, it's a PDF. So we're going to click on PDF, and just to double check, so see this right here, data, the input binary field should be the same. So data and data. You shouldn't have to change it, but just in case this is changed for, it might be a different scenario again, right? Just ensure that these fields and names match. So now that we test this step right here, it will actually take the data file, okay, and extract all the information from the PDF. So we'll just test this step right now, and then there we go. Okay, so all of that information that was in the PDF is now in N8N. Okay, and this is very important because what we're going to do right here is then create another node right here. We're going to type in Pinecone again. We see Pinecone Vector Store. Now in this case, we want to click on Add Documents to Vector Store. Okay, so we're going to click on that. Now I have a few different accounts on here, but I'm just going to click on Ken's, which is the one before. Now the Pinecone index, okay, we're going to click that, which was documents. All right, and we can see, you know, namespaces and everything like that. So before, what did I set? What did I set it as? It was. Oh wait, did I even make one before? Let me check. I forget now. Oh yeah, company data. So I'll just copy that, come back over here, and the Pinecone namespace will be company data. So when you are uploading to this vector store, it's going to be uploaded in the namespace company data. For your case, it might be something else, okay? But this is how it works. So now that's set for the company data namespace, we'll jump out of there and click on the embedding, and we'll click the embeddings OpenAI right here, and just wait for this to load. By default, it's already set to text embedding 3 small, so you can generally just leave it as is, but just double check, okay? It's always a good thing. Now we'll click back out of there, move this aside, and see this little document, we'll click the plus on that, click on default data loader, okay, jump back over here and see the text splitter. I'm going to click on the plus sign again, and we'll just put in recursive character text splitter. Okay, for most use cases, this is going to be absolutely fine. So just clean things up, make sure everything's nicely aligned, zoom out a bit. All right, so we can see right here the chunk size is 1000 and the chunk overlap is set to 0. Now this is okay for most case scenarios, all right? I would say in this case, just leave it as default because this should be absolutely fine. Now, if we jump back over here to the default data loader, we can add options for metadata, okay? So if we add a property, now this is where I want you to think a little bit as well of what type of metadata do we want to be saving to our actual vector store, okay? So this could be several different things. If we look at this actual document right here, and I just come over here a little bit, let's just say, for example, I wanted to save the, let's say the title, okay? So I would say title, and I would move that over here, okay? And that will actually create an expression and would save the title as metadata in the vector store as well. And then we also have the text, okay? So all of this right here, we most likely want to save that as well, right? So let's just call it text, and I'll just drag this across, move it over here as well. Then we also have the version. Now, obviously, I know this isn't very important. I'll just use an example anyway, and we'll just call it version, and I'll drag him over as well. And what else is there? Language, maybe? We'll just say language, and we'll drag that over there as well. So what's going to happen now is that all of these fields, like the title, the text, the version, the language, are going to be saved in the vector store as well. So we can actively see it as we access things as well, which is going to be important for some reasons, because let's say a document might have things related to SEO, for instance, or Facebook ads. So we might set things like a metadata and categories, and the category might be SEO, and this category might be Facebook ads, and this category might be accounting, okay? So then we also have everything kind of filtered out in a way as well when we require it. So now that we have this set up, all right, so we'll just double check, credentials all set up, we have the namespace, we have the name, everything here is good to go. Now all we have to do is just click test workflow. So watch what happens now. It's going to download that file, extract from the file, as you saw before, and then it's straight into the process of uploading that information and those embeddings to the vector store. So now if we click over to our vector store, and I might just have to refresh. So as you can see, there's nothing in here at the moment. I refresh this, and you'll see the namespace as company data. If it actually loads up, there we go. So company data, all right. We have 18 records, all right. We can also see it up here. Now, if we want to see these records, just click on browser, and this will load up all the records. So when we were making those metadata inputs and values before, okay, that was for language, all right, for the text as well. What else did we have? We had the title and also the version. So all of these IDs, okay, actually include the text metadata, we have the language, and we have the title and the version as well, okay, included in our metadata. So now, since all of this information has been uploaded, we can actually go back here, and now I can actually query the agent who's connected to this vector store as well. Now, just before we do that though, I want to just say add a system message, and I'm just going to say efficient chatbot with access to a vector store. Now this is going to be a very, very simple prompt, okay? But just for this video, I'll make a very simple prompt just so to alert it of what it should be doing. You will access the vector store and retrieve information based on the user's query. Yeah, that should be fine. All right. All right. Now that we set our prompt for our AI agent, we've also connected a vector store to the agent, and we also have a way to upload documents to our vector store. Now we can start talking with it. Okay. So we're just going to open the chat thing right here. So just open chat, and we'll just say, parties agree to pay what? Okay. So now it's going to access the vector store, get information in regards to the document I don't even know what's on that document, by the way. That's just a random document. But as we can see right here, the parties agreed to the following payment terms. The client shall pay the accounting firm for the services based on monthly invoices submitted by the accounting firm. So there we go. We already have information being delivered to us based on documents that are within the Vector store, and everything is working absolutely fine. All right. So that's a very simple way of setting up your own Vector store. I hope it helped you out.